In this video, I'll be showing you how I prep and install front windshields using the reverse roll method. I have to somewhat hurry because my GoPro dies very quickly. So hopefully I can show you guys that you can get a clean install even though I'm in a rush. Something with tint I would always typically recommend to not be in a rush. But I have about 40 minutes before the camera dies. It's kind of an old GoPro, and even if the battery doesn't die, it overheats on me super quick. So what I'm doing here, if it's not obvious for those of you guys that are extreme beginners, I'm using a blue non-score scrub pad to scrub the entire front windshield. You don't want to use anything too aggressive on any glass. You risk scratching it. The newer the car is, glass is actually getting a little bit softer. Every year they get softer and softer. So you definitely want to be careful if you're ever going to try and use a razor blade. And you even want to be careful with some scrubs pads. So common areas for contamination on a windshield would be the sides, corners, basically the borders. If you have in the middle, you should have the odd one or two that kind of just land, but they should be extremely small or minimal, nothing big. I tape everything off, as you guys can see. You don't have to, and you want to be careful with what tape you use, especially on Teslas. If the tape's too strong, it could separate this from the actual panel. Basically, the adhesive on this is very weak, so if your tape is too strong, it'll pull that off. That's how I like to do it. I didn't always like to do it. I did get good installs without tape, but I've said this in some of my videos before. I feel like a whole lot of tinters are very picky or somewhat perfectionist, even though tint is something that will never come out perfect, but I'm very picky. My clients have never complained, but even when they're fine with it, and I know I could have maybe done better if I would have liked to see it better, it bugs me the whole day. So I do often waste my time doing extra steps to get as clean of an install for me, not even for the client, because a lot of clients don't pick up on a lot of stuff that you would pick up on or other installers would pick up on. You want to be pretty thorough with this first spray squeegee spray. I guess I spray scrub squeegee spray, but anyway, you want to be pretty thorough, but you're going to do another one right after this, so this one doesn't have to be perfect. This one should get 80% of everything off. And when I'm squeegeeing, I'm doing overlapping strokes, and then I'm also trying to wipe the dirty water off. After I squeegee most of it off, I come in here with my side swiper, and I do exactly what it sounds like I do. I swipe everything to the side. After that, I even take my tri-edge. Since you just pushed all that dirt off to the side, I try and come in here and squeegee it all down best I can. Usually Teslas don't have very good quality control at all. So these side pillar things usually have quite a bit of a gap. But this one, this Model Y, for some reason, everything is tight. Everything is touching the glass. These top ones here, everything is so tight on this one. I don't know about you guys or if there's any pros watching, but I never like these. I feel like I always get some contamination. Again, I've never heard any complaints, but I feel like these I can never get good enough for my liking. And if you guys are wondering, you should never use that much water on a front windshield. You always want to be somewhat conservative. I have a dash towel, a soak rope, and another towel protecting the screen. This is my favorite pump sprayer by far. I've tried a bunch of them. Home Depot one, a Walmart one, a cheap chemical guys one that I buy from tint sites. This one has been the best one by far. You can get a really good mist. It looks like a bunch of water, but it's actually not much water at all. This does a really good job spreading. It comes with two tips, and it comes with a nice clean white color, which matches my shop colors and my company logo colors and everything. Favorite bottle by far. Anyway, just sprayed to do my second spray squeegee spray. After this, I can reverse roll and install. This one I'm gonna try and be a little bit more careful. It's so hard to like squeegee around these and feel like you got it clean. Obviously this is a brand new car. It's a 2025 Model Y, so it's very clean. It's just never clean enough for me. I always feel I can get it cleaner. If I could do this 5 times and it wouldn't be clean enough. The bare minimum should be 2 on cars that are more dirty, filthy, older. You should do more. Squeegee all this down again. The good thing about these Teslas, do you guys see that black border at the bottom? You have a lot of space on these. typically on these sides too. You see how all this black is showing? The idea is to barely get to this black, and that's where you want to cut. So the more that is exposed, the less you have to do any tucking and the less you'll get any contamination. I typically experience some difficulty because I'm trying to work around this, get everything in place, that you're moving it around kind of a lot, and you can get some dirt in the sides as you're messing with everything. Just do one more side swiper. Another thing that I would typically do in between those two squeegee sprays that I forgot to since I was talking to you guys is whenever you spray it the second time, before you squeegee it off, feel the entire glass with your hand to make sure that there's no glue hanging out anywhere. Yeah, you're gonna get some stuff on it with your hand, but you're about to squeegee it all off anyway. And this is the only way to ensure that there's nothing on there is by feeling. You can miss a ton of stuff just by looking at it. So you want to feel it. Since it's a new car, it should be fine. I'm gonna go ahead and reverse roll this, show you guys how I do that, install it. So if you guys don't have a second set of hands and you guys can get your hands on some of these little magnets, these will definitely help you out. So I'm gonna prepare these, put some tape on them, and they're here ready. I also like to install with this type of material. I don't like just having my t-shirt because I can lint roll all day and it can pick up a fiber from my shirt, but this doesn't leave any lint. So I like installing with this. I always have my shop pretty cold, so I always start on the driver's side because I roll on that side. So I'm gonna mist the air pretty generously, even above me. So I've misted, and I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna squeegee this this clean. Then I'm gonna make my sprayer a little more aggressive. I'm gonna peel up this bottom corner. So what just happened right there with the top of it? Something I don't like to see. Especially that right there where it touched the tint. It could leave contamination. Is it fine? Probably. I see lots of other professional tinters, shop owners tint without really caring about that sort of thing. Missed everything. Squeegee up the side. Hopefully removing any dust, dirt, anything that might be hanging out on this release liner that could get in my tint installation. Start on the bottom corner. There we go. That one went a whole lot smoother. That's what you'd want it to go like. And then I spray the outside and get all this out. The flatter it is, the easier it's going to be to reverse roll. And you want it pretty wet. You just have to be careful when you're rolling it up. If you're careless here, you can cause tons of little kinks that somewhat cure out, but they're super tiny and might not heal out. So you want to keep this as rounded as you can. You don't want any points. So I have my flap, put it over itself, keep it nice and rounded, and then I start to pull this in and make it tighter. Take your time with this, because if you create all these creases on this side, it's just going to show up as a ton of little imperfections and kinks. Typically, the tighter the roll, the better. All right, we're going to send it like this because I got to get going. You want to keep this roll nice and tight. And you see all this extra material of the liner that's sitting in front. You want to keep that in front. The more flat you keep everything, the better your roll is going to be. Keep an eye on this little flap right here. As I come into here, then I'm going to have to make sure that this is rolled properly, as well as this one. Pull up the last bit, come in here, just finish the roll. You know, I've got my tint sticking out right there, and then my extra, now I've got the release liner right here. I'm gonna make sure that my sprayer is pretty aggressive. I gotta spray the bottom somewhat generously, lightly mist the rest. Forgot to set up those magnets, so I'll do that. Some people clean the outside of the windshield. Doesn't really bother me. Hasn't affected my installs. So So I place my magnets on this top corner and then on the very next corner. And those are going to be the points where I essentially use them as another set of hands, where it's going to hold this for me. I begin to unroll it just a little bit and spray my pattern generously. Careful not to touch anything. Slide it as low as I possibly can. And then I've got it basically lined up with the bottom. I don't just go and push it to the side. I then lay the side and then push it over. Would have been, it's best if you can do that as close to the side as possible without bigging into it. That one wasn't very close, but the less movement you have to do here, the less chance for contamination. Keep that steady so you can put your magnet here. Now that's gonna hold it in place nice for me. And you see right there where the film just separated from the glass, you want to do that as little as possible. So you see this is what I don't like. Just having to work around all this. So if you can have this to the side and low, and then pull it to the inside as you go through with your install. See that, especially where it opened up right there in the middle, where it can just suck everything out of see, and then my film always curls. I see a lot of people that don't have that problem. So here's my second holding position. So basically there are two checkpoints. I got that checkpoint, then this one. Then once I get to here, I give this another little mist, my pattern a little mist. And here's where kind of like here's where different things work. I use my head to keep this close to the glass so it doesn't just peel away. And then I come in here as I unroll it. As you unroll it, it's gonna pull it away. But again, I always have that problem where it curls on itself, and I really don't want it to do that. So as I unroll it, I want to put it on the glass as soon as it's unrolled. To avoid it curling on itself and contaminating itself. I'm just going around making sure all my borders are covered. But basically every time that film separates from the glass and falls down, think of it like, so when it comes down, it's sucking air in. And obviously, you know, there's fuzz and lint and dirt in the air. So you want that to happen as little as possible. And especially here, for example, you know, if it comes down here and this isn't taped, it's gonna suck dust from in between here all the way down. Same thing with here. So after I've sprayed it down, I tack the middle first. Because if any fingers want to pop up here in the middle, again, a finger, anything where the tint is being lifted from the glass after it's been placed is going to create a vacuum. So I kind of tack it down. So after I've got it tacked in place, I'm going to do a semi-firm squeegee pass. Basically, work your way in a curve like this. If you go straight, you don't know how to manage these air pockets or fingers, whatever you want to call them, tension, and you could cause creases. So as I'm here at the top, I'm going up. As I get more to the corner, I'm pushing towards the corner. As I go to the side, I'm pushing to the side. As I get lower, I'm pushing down. And I typically like to get the sides down in one pass to prevent any fingers from popping up, because again, a finger is a vacuum and it can suck things in right from the side, which is where you squeegeed all the dirty water off to. You have to give this side a little mist. You want to make sure your squeegee is lubricated, prevent any creases, so your squeegee is not skipping, leaving any moisture behind. And if your squeegee is by chance contaminated with a piece of dirt or something, then it's lubricated, so it might not scratch it. More lubricated, the better. just like the sides, you don't want any fingers popping out on the bottom and sucking any dirt from the bottom. So you want to squeegee this all very fluidly. On this side that I can't reach as good, I'll come in here with my bulldozer and very overlapping, I squeegee everything out. Give everything one last mist, and there's going to be my friend pass where I squeegee everything out. I start from the middle again. So whenever you're shrinking and stalling, you always have some tension. Yeah, you always have some tension with the tint because your glass is never 100% flat. And even when you shrink it, it's not shrunk perfectly to the curvature of the glass. So you want to spread that tension. Because let's say I started from the outside, and then I just tacked these sides in, and there's tension in the middle that I didn't stretch out, that are now fingers that won't go away. But if I stretch everything out, it's all going to lay flat. So I squeegee the top very firmly, overlapping squeegee strokes. Top, and work my way down. That install was by no means the quickest, but hey, I'm narrating. I got it done. Come in here with my side swiper. I very much prefer the side swiper over this bulldozer. I find it to be a lot more firm, gets a lot more water out. Now, to check how my install is. Scrub my windshield down to remove all the dry shrink prep and any adhesive from the glass aid that I used to cut my pattern. This is the same process that I actually use to clean and prep it for the shrink. In the beginning of the video, I told you guys the common places for contamination, which is basically just borders, corners, that sort of thing. So that's gonna be the first place that I'm looking for contamination. This side actually looks really clean. This side is looking really clean. If you guys think that's a light gap there, it's not. It's the white tape tucked in to the camera looking thing. So after I peel it off, you'll see it's just fine. But I'm gonna get this all cleaned up. At the very end, I'll show you guys how everything came out, hopefully outside so you guys can see it better. But that's how I install windshield tint using the reverse roll method. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. If not, make sure to ask some questions in the comments. I'll try and help as best I can. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are interested in stuff like this and you guys are serious about learning how to tint windows and make some money, subscribe to my channel, check out my free community, and hopefully you can make some cash doing what you like and working on cars. Business and tinting is incredibly simple, but also incredibly hard. So anybody can do it, but not everybody will do it. So if you guys are serious, you can do it. Trust me, just give it a shot. All right, I'll see you guys on the next one. Hopefully I'm going around showing you guys exactly how it came out.